Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Smith here with a new update. The Immortal Treasure 3 is finally out. It is the weekend where we thought it was going to come out, so everything seems to be surprisingly on schedule. And so let's go ahead and check this thing out. It says right here that we have a whole bunch of new sets, and we see we have a Viper Venomous debut onto the item scene. People are definitely, I think Valve's even in on the joke that Viper hasn't been getting any love at all when it comes to items. So finally, he has an item. Well, we'll have to see what that is. Let's go on ahead and take a look at this. Alrighty, so we're just going to go ahead and dive right into it with the Treasure 3 for the 2017 Immortals. First up is the Crimson Ceridae, which is a head item for Weaver with a custom swarm effect. Has a lot of bugs that look like they'd kind of appear out of Pudge's new Immortal arm, but overall, it works. Now, the funny thing is, Weaver already has two Immortals, and this looks like it matches perfectly with them. Okay, so this appears to be something that Valve is doing, and they're inching their way at it more and more. If anybody remembers, especially if you're American, in Happy Meals, you used to have a lot of toys, but what they used to do also with the promotional toys and whatnot is they would have your main toy that you got with your kids meal, your Happy Meal, whatever it's called, and they would also have a little piece inside of the package. And what you're supposed to do with that little piece, it's something ridiculous. It's like an arm or a foot or a torso or a head. It doesn't really have any value at that point. But what they did was you collected a whole bunch of these pieces and you put it together, and you had your super rare hero or action figure, whatever it was, you know, the combined Chimera toy. It was really, they did this with a lot of different promos, and so it worked out. It seems that Valve is actually taking this approach in that they're piecing together a lot of these Immortals to create one set. In this case, you have Weaver's head item, the Crimson Ceridae. Additionally, you have the Crimson Peak from TI6, which will go on his back, as well as the Immortal Skittering Desolation from Dak that goes on his arms. So that's all going to come together and be one mostly red particle effect set. I think this is really an interesting move from Valve's part. It's going to give a lot of value to these pre-existing items, in that where something like Skittering Desolation would be, I don't know, maybe 75 cents, now it could be maybe $2, in that there's now more and more items that are coming out and people are realizing, oh, this is a more or less unofficial set. It's an official item, but not an official set per se. So finally people are saying, oh, this actually looks like it goes together like as a set, much like the Commander set for Sven. So you're going to start piecing these items together, all these Immortals, and now you're going to have a new set. And in this one, it's probably going to be the, I don't know, the Crimson Immortal set for Weaver. You have the Ceridae, the Pike, and the Skittering Desolation. It works out really well, gives them a lot of particle effects. The only problem I really have with this is that if you're a relative newcomer to the Dota scene, you're probably going to be buying all your items off of the market. And while this isn't a bad thing, you're going to be spending more in the long run than if you had been around and you went on ahead and bought the Battle Pass or the Compendium and got these items. So there is that to think about. It's really not that crazy big of a deal. These aren't going to be super expensive at the end of the day, like the Alpine Stalker set, but it's just something to think about. I really like this set. I think way back when Weaver needed more attention, and now he's finally getting all this attention and having really cool custom effects. The swarm, the bugs in the swarm are highly detailed, but they do also remind me a lot of the Guttle Slug from the Treasure 2 set for Pudge, or item for Pudge. The Treasure 2 item for Pudge. So they're kind of a reused theme, but it's okay. Alrighty, and next we have Baneful Devotion, which is a head item for Legion Commander with a custom Overwhelming Odds effect and sound. I cannot currently hear the sound because I'm previewing this through my browser, but the effect overall looks pretty sick. So overall, I'm a fan of that. So the effect kind of looks like a small meteor, but not to be confused with Invoker's meteor. And it also does remind me a lot of Underlord's pit, just with a different color effect, which is okay. So going back to what I said earlier, how it looks like there's a lot of sets that are being made that are unofficial Immortal sets. In this case, you have the Blades of Voth-Damash, which is Tresden's Arcana. They're her twin swords. Legacy of the Fallen Legion, which is her Prestige Immortal item from TI6. And then the new Baneful Devotion, which is her headpiece. So that's going to be the new set. It's going to be a little more expensive because, of course, you now have an Arcana thrown into the mix. Overall, I like the particle effects. It looks awesome. I'm pretty sure the sound is great too. But the look of the headpiece itself, overall, I find the headpiece looks kind of boring. It reminds me a lot of the Stonehall Royal Guard set, just with a couple of more particle effects. So it's not much to look at there, but the custom effects definitely make up for it. Next we have Malefic Drake's Hood for Viper. It's going to be the first item for Viper. It's a head item with custom poison attack effect and sound. Once again, I can't hear anything, but the effect does look pretty cool. It has his normal green goop and a little bit of purple attached to it. Not too much to distract from the fact that it is Viper, but it does add a little more flair to the hero. I'm really glad that they're adding items for heroes that are largely ignored when it comes to that, when it comes to the cosmetic scene. I think maybe in the future they're going ahead and add some items, maybe a couple of items in the trove that will contribute to making a full set. You see here how he has the green running down his back. Maybe he'll have a back piece that replaces that with a little bit of the ambient green particle as well as a little bit of the purple. Or maybe down on the ridges on his wings. I definitely predict we're going to be seeing some more Viper items though. Valve is saying, hey, we didn't forget about him, we just were getting to him much later. Overall, I like it. I like that he's getting all this attention. He's still an annoying hero to deal with, but now he's pretty. And next item is going to be the Transversant Soul for Spectre. It's a shoulder item with a custom spectral dagger effect and sound. The effect looks pretty awesome. It has this wave and it kind of looks like it tears through the earth. You know, it definitely adds to that. It definitely backs up her lore of the whole dimension shifting. So in this case, the shoulder piece goes with her Soul Diffuser from TI4. It's her immortal weapon, and they showed that I think for a second there. Overall, it's pretty good and I like it, and definitely Spectre needs immortal items. But I'm not a big fan of how it changes the way she looks. It seems a bit out of place. There's something that I can't put my finger on. Additionally, she looks a lot like a lionfish right now, which works for TI7 with the water theme and whatnot. Well, once we get out of that, it's going to look a little displaced. Next item is going to be the Iceflight Edifice for Winter Wyvern. It's a head item with custom Cold Embrace effect. The head item doesn't seem to be much to look at. Seems very lackluster, but then again, Winter Wyvern only has 2 slots. So, working with what you got. Maybe they'll complete this set with Immortals really quickly, maybe they won't. We'll see what happens. The Cold Embrace effect, though, looks really awesome. It creates a bubble reminiscent of Void's Chronosphere when he has the Mace of Aeons, and overall, I enjoy it. Next item is going to be Sand King's Baron Vector. It's an arm item with a custom Caustic Finale effect. Of course, they're showcasing that it does indeed go with his previous immortal item, which is going to be the Baron Crown from TI5. I hope we're going to see something like a Immortal Tail come out, so maybe he'll change an Epicenter effect as he's channeling, or maybe in the legs, which will change his Sandstorm effect. In this case, it feels a lot like pay to get... how do I want to put it? It feels a lot like pay to upgrade the graphics, which I believe is perfectly fine. The reason behind that is that a lot of people have older PCs. They're maybe 5 years old, and they're still trying to run Dota 2, as if it were brand new. The problem with that is that Dota 2 is a game that is constantly evolving. It is being updated almost every week. So because of that, you really run into the issue of the developers trying to make it a bit more of a streamlined game, a bit more friendly and accessible to everyone. But at the same time, they also do want to give the option, if you have the graphics power, to go on ahead and add more and more effects. And I enjoy that. I would really like to see a Baron Tail or something, Baron Stinger, come out, or something like that, in which it changes his channel and epicenter effect. I do like it, however, I wish they stayed with the right arm and copied it on both and made it symmetric. This asymmetrical design I'm not really a gargantuan fan of. It seems as though he's infected with something, and I don't feel like that really fits with Sand King. Maybe if it was Necrophos, that would make a little more sense. I don't feel it as much with Sand King. Anyways, the next item is actually going to be the rare drop. And it is not an item, it is a tool, which is 50 Battle Pass levels. Interesting thing about this is that it is the rare item, and it gives you 50 Battle Pass levels. So personally, when I was unboxing Treasure 1, I managed to open, I think it was 6 Broodmother items, and then for Treasure 2, it was only 2 of the Keeper of the Light items. So I kind of wonder what the odds are on that one for opening for Treasure 3, but if anything has to point, I get at least 2, maybe 4. I'm going to keep it rounded in the middle there, so I'm thinking I'm maybe going to get 4 of these, so possibly somewhere around 200 levels. Interesting to note, you know, obviously the higher your battle pass is, the higher chances you have for more rewards. In this case, they're really giving you a hefty reward for having a high battle pass level. And I'm thinking the sweet spot is probably around 600. You're able to unbox, maybe get 1 or 2 of the 50 battle pass levels, and you're going to jump up pretty high. Personally, I'm at level 900, so I think by opening these boxes, it will push me just right over the edge so we can go ahead and get our mini Aegis. That is very important, and I think this will be a great boost to anybody, for anybody looking to get their mini Aegis, or if they're not going straight to that 1000 level, even the Prestige Kunkka item and the IO Arcana. Alrighty, and the bonus, very rare item is Golden Ciridae. It's the same exact thing as the Weaver item earlier, but of course in gold, and it looks like it also has some electric particles. Maybe he's like a sand or something. The swarm in this one actually looks really cool. It reminds me of the Brendan Fraser Mummy, the scarabs from that movie. It reminds me a lot of the Mummy. It's really, really neat. Alrighty, and last but not least, our ultra rare item is going to be Vigil Triumph for Sven. It's a weapon with a custom Great Cleave effect and sound, custom God Strength effect, and custom crit effects. It actually looks really nice, and it matches with his Vigil Signet from TI5. That's going to be the little shield piece. I don't think they show it here in the previews, but it's going to match perfectly with that. It's interesting in that they changed up Sven's look for, I believe, his Immortal, possibly Arcana set if he wins the Arcana vote, which I will assume will be a helmet, to change a little bit from his stone gray and blue appearance, or red, to more of a polished silver with gold and particle blue effects. So it looks like they're more kind of giving him an overhaul, an upgrade to his look. Obviously it's going to be expensive to do so, but that's how they're doing it. So they have all these Immortal items that are coming out, and they're turning into what I would call unofficial Immortal sets. Some examples are going to be like Necrophos with his Sullen Harvest and his Sullen Hollow. Maybe he's going to get more items like a mask in the future. We'll have to see. But you also have ones that are almost completely fully fleshed out. You have Lena, who recently got a new skirt that goes along with her chest piece as well as her Arcana head. That makes a full set. Mind you, she doesn't have anything like Immortal gauntlets yet, but hey, Valve will probably do it or not. Doesn't really matter. At this point, it looks like a full set. It seems when they're making these, they're actually putting it all on the same page and keeping a theme among all the items, which is really good. I like seeing that unification. Only problem with this is a character like Axe was one of the first ones to have a ton of immortals that actually could go together and make a pseudo set. The only theme there, though, was a lot of fire and anger, and the items kind of clash with each other. You have his cape, his mask, and shoulder piece. And I'm not sure if Axe of Fractos is immortal or just really expensive, but that can go with the set if you're really into that one. So they're coming out with a lot of these unofficial sets, which I think is really cool, but it's also kind of a small greedy move. We'll let time decide how the community feels about it. And of course the market's going to fluctuate. Some people are going to get upset, and some people are going to be happy about that. Only time will tell. Okay, so down to some other business. I did do a giveaway from my Treasure 2 showcase, as it was not an unboxing. I forgot to hit record as I was unboxing everything, so obviously I lost all that footage. And so instead I did a minor showcase on the first things that were popping into my head when I saw these new items for Immortal Treasure 2. Down to business, I was doing a giveaway, and I said I was only going to pick one, but actually I felt generous and decided to go with 3. I contacted them already. The winners are You Look Like a Movie, Meltdown, and Katie Steele. Currently I am just waiting on the gifting restriction because they have to be friends for 30 days at least, and then I'll be able to go on ahead and gift Movie, Guttleslug, Meltdown, Guttleslug, and Steele. I already gifted her Lena skirt. So expect to see the Treasure 3 unboxing very soon. There are a lot of issues with the client right now, so I didn't feel like recording at this moment, just in case I lose footage or something crashes on me. And also I was seeing some things from Reddit where people are saying the escalating odds aren't quite working, or maybe they're acting up a little funny, so I'm just going to let the dust settle for that one, and then I'll release the Immortal Treasure 3 unboxing, if that is something you like to watch. Personally, I'm not a gargantuan fan on watching unboxings, but it does help me figure out a few odds and say, hey, do I need to open like 10 boxes for the rare, 20, I don't know. It allows me to get a good approximation of how many boxes I need to open. And within that unboxing, I'm going to go ahead and do a giveaway. I don't quite know what items I will give away. I might do the very rare, I might do the ultra rare, or just rare, or even just the standard items. It all depends on what I get when I actually unbox them. If I have a huge surplus of, say, the very rares, then yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do a giveaway based on that. Thank you very much for watching, and please do comment below. Let me know a bit of your opinions about the Treasure 3s, and what you liked, what you didn't like, and I will see you in the next video.